everybody. I have barely heard anything about this situation, but what I have heard is terrifying, to say the least. You know, when Trump first took office and he started building his administration, I brought up the point that what's the most scary about this to me isn't the ideology of Trump or his cronies. As scary as that is, to be fair, it's not the scariest thing to me. The scariest thing is how quickly all of the adults in the room are going to be removed, fired, and culled, of which they have, and replaced with sycophants, all of whom are either maliciously dedicated to pursuing their own best interests or are massively stupid ideologues. We have replaced some of the brightest minds in our government, most of the bright minds in our government, with dull idiots who are wholly dedicated to Trump or serving Trump just to get themselves ahead. And now these people run our government. Everything from national security to, well, social security, right? And so things are looking really scary. And we're already looking pretty scary. And now this story has come about as sort of like the pinnacle of exactly the point that I was making about how unsafe we are in Trump's America. Because apparently, Pete Hegseth accidentally leaked war plans, U.S. top secret war plans for what? I don't know. Is it going to be the invasion of Canada or Greenland? I have no fucking clue. Leaked war plans to a journalist on accident. This was not a whistleblower situation or like leaking stuff to the press on purpose as like an act of rebellion or something. He just accidentally leaked war plans he had on his phone to a group chat with a bunch of journalists, from my understanding. I've barely looked into this story, so I'm going to be learning about it with you. Well, most of you guys probably know more about it than me right now, but I don't know much about this situation. My reaction when I first heard it was no fucking way. Like, I was in the car and I saw that shit, and I was like, no fucking way. And, yeah, dude. Yeah, it was about airstrikes and the Houthis. Okay, interesting. Regardless, let's take a look into this story and find out just how not secure our country is right now. The journalist initially only released the non-classified info, but the leak still happened. The journalist was just nice about it. It was like, hey, I don't think you meant to send me that. Anyway, let's check this out. I want to learn about this situation very badly.
Associated Press wrote this weekend about how Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is trying to chart a path forward for Democrats right now. Great to hear, right? And he's doing that in part by holding events alongside people who have actually been directly impacted by what the Trump administration is doing. May more people start doing these things. The AP writes, quote, Governor J.B. Pritzker sits at a table surrounded by University of Illinois researchers who will soon be out of work. Their lab set to lose its federal funding and close next month.
Man, I meant to do a whole segment dedicated to this, but I kept forgetting, and then obviously I got cucked by Google recently. But what they did at Doge when it came to shutting down certain parts of our government and certain things that our government was funding was they Control F'd for trans. And everything that had the term trans in it, that includes words that include trans, of which many scientific words have that in it. They just cut funding to everything that mentioned trans. Anything that mentioned sexuality, anything like, and to be clear, there were tens of thousands of extremely important studies and lots of research that the US government was funding that had those words in them. There were transgenic studies being done to find, I think, the cure to cancer on mice. Nothing to do with transgender people or sex or anything like that, but transgenic. They found it when they Control F'd for trans, cut the funding off for that research. So there are an immense amount of American scientists across the country right now that are about to lose their work because they've lost government funding because in somewhere in their job description, somewhere in their research they're doing, the letters T-R-A-N and S appeared next to each other, such that they would come up when you looked up trans on a Control F search. Genuinely insane. So yeah, that's why a bunch of people and researchers and labs are about to lose their jobs, if you were wondering.
One researcher saying she feels betrayed by the government turns to thank Pritzker. My husband sometimes shows me videos of you talking, she said. This was the first thing that gave me hope, that someone is speaking out, somebody is defending us. Pretty powerful.
That's good.
And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker joins me now. Governor, it's great to see you.
Apparently he's going to be talking about Pete Hegseth leaking this shit. So this guy has apparently been fighting the good fight to bring the Democrats some level of a platform for the future, and that's good because the Democrats are pretty crippled right now. We gotta recover. We've had both our legs broken at the kneecaps. We've got to rebuild ourselves. We've got to do physical therapy and become fit and ready and fighting shape for the next election.
You never hold back from a fight. You never hold back from conversations. One of the things I think I admire about you. You've done the statewide tour I just referenced over the last couple of days. About the effects of these cuts by Trump and Musk, there's so much to pick from. What do people respond to the most? What are they concerned about the most?
The cuts that are affecting people that they care about or themselves. Just the other day, I was with a group of farmers. We talked about what they're doing to the agricultural community in my state. This is one of our largest industries.
All the farmers have been calling out Trump for months now. I really think this has been a great example of the right not giving a fuck about farmers as much as they may have talked up and used them as a political pawn in the past years. They have not given any platform to the farmers who are panicked about their livelihoods under Trump. Countless farmers who are really scared about what's going to happen, especially because they make so much of their money off of exporting their goods to foreign countries, which of course not going to be happening as much due to Trump's economic policy that most of our allies and trading partners are not big fans of.
Industries in Illinois. We're the largest producer of soybeans in the United States. And you talked about that soybean innovation lab and the people who are being laid off. It's not just the people being laid off. It's that they were protecting.
Remember, there are bands of climate in America where certain crops are the cash crop of the area, right? You've got the corn states, you've got the the potato, cotton, and mostly vegetable, root vegetable states, all along the East Coast and the South. You've got areas along the West Coast here in California and Oregon where you can grow pistachios, almonds, and I think they also grow avocados here. Now, I don't know enough about farming to be able to list more examples, but those are the ones I know. And when a region like that gets messed up by some policy decision that Trump or the president in this situation makes, or even local legislators make, it might not just be, oh, this state's farmers are fucked. It's this entire industry in America just got fucked. Because if one state is the #1 soybean growing state and all these farmers are getting fucked over by Trump's policies, that means our soybean industry is being destroyed.
Our soybean industry, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry where we are shipping soybeans and selling them all over the world. And that little lab, which has around the world and in Illinois about 70, 80 people, but what they're doing is protecting our soybeans in the United States from red leaf blotch, which can take out 50 or 75% of our soybeans. That'd be a huge blow to our industry, but they're also opening up soybean markets across the world for our goods. And Elon Musk doesn't know anything about that. Doge doesn't know anything about that. And all they see is, oh, another program they can cut. So these people and the many, many people that are on the ground farming, the small farmers as well as our big agricultural companies, are going to lose out on the...
Keep in mind, by the way, basically all of the feed we give our livestock in livestock farming comes from the agricultural sector. Everything left over from processing corn and whatnot. This is what we feed our chickens and our cows and our pigs and whatnot. And so if you like beef, chicken, and pork, or eggs, or any of these, milk, all these things, there's not going to be enough food for the livestock. If there's not enough labor, and the administration is hostile to farmers, that's not only going to hurt those industries, but those industries being hurt means that our livestock farming gets fucked up, because the livestock farming relies heavily on the success, on there being excess, in fact, from the agricultural farming industry.
The United States economy is going to lose out because of this decision, a bad decision, by people who know nothing about agriculture, including especially Elon Musk. So that's just an example, but I could talk about veterans and people who are on health care, Medicaid, and I have talked to those people.
Imagine if over the next 4 years, the entire political climate in America, like, almost switches, where the Democrats are seen now as, like, the small government, pro, like, Rust Belt, pro-farmer kind of party. Because after 4 years of Trump, these groups are going to be devastated by the most Republican presidency of Republican presidencies. And there's not going to be much of anyone else to blame if you're, like, being honest with yourself about who you should vote for. So I wonder if this is going to lead to, like, the myth of the Republicans having literally any principles worth standing by might finally dissipate because of this presidency. Whether or not it'll matter by the next election is a different question entirely.
And talk to them directly, and people honestly are going to lose their lives because of decisions that Elon Musk is making that he just doesn't understand the impact of, or he's just a cruel individual.
Or he doesn't care. We don't.
Elon Musk isn't American. Why are people so quick to assume Elon Musk cares about Americans or America? He's not American. He's a billionaire who only brought his business to America for the money. The fact that people are so blinded by their tendency to follow success and worship those who experience success, as if success is a marker of a good, well-rounded, morally upstanding person. Because remember, this is like a very common trend among conservatives. We talked about it in the Assassin's Creed Shadows segment too. If you're rich, conservatives typically assume, not always, but typically assume you earned that, and not just that you earned it through merit, but that you got it because you deserved it. That if you had bad politics, bad beliefs, and you were a bad person, you wouldn't deserve the money enough to get it. And so if you don't have money, you don't deserve to have it. This is a very common conservative talking point. And so for a lot of them, they're going to, like a lot of these Republican politicians, a lot of these culture warriors, they're going to look at the farmers and the scientists and the researchers getting laid off by Elon. They see that, and they say, those people deserved it. They're bad. They had it coming. Because the very wealthy, powerful guy who surely deserved that power and wealth, because why else would God allow him to be so successful and powerful if he didn't deserve it, right? Then he must know what he's talking about, and he must not be a liar. He must have our best interests at heart. And a downright depressing amount of Americans believe this.
Oh, no, I'll be less generous than you are. One of the things I think that's powerful about doing these events you're doing and some others are doing, like town hall meetings, is you're showing up, right? You're having conversations with people. You're hearing their stories. And one of the things we've heard a little bit is that, as powerful as that is, there's some frustration out there about what's happening in Washington and Senate Democrats not fighting harder the way people perceive it.
Dude, it's actually insane how much progressives in America, like, are so unwilling to just focus their attacks on the Republicans. Like, there always has to be some amount of energy dedicated to shitting on the Democrats. We can never be, like, united behind a party. We can never be like, okay, we need to win. We need to hold electoral power. We need to use our ability to affect laws and change the state of this country to do good. We can't agree on that. We have to dedicate so much energy to talk about how, well, did you know the Democrats support Israel? And just nonstop criticize them for this. What's the point of doing that? Do you think you're actually moving them on the issue? Because it hasn't happened even a little bit. It certainly didn't lead to anything good for Palestinians in the long run, did it? Doesn't seem that way, based on what Trump is doing to Gaza right now. I don't think things would be anywhere near as bad if Biden was in power. I don't think we'd have the Biden Gaza plan, like with Trump Gaza, where they plan to get all the Palestinians out and turn it into a beachfront resort for Trump's real estate, future. Like, I don't know. Or if, I guess Harris won, sorry. Still thinking about my boy. They should never have kicked him out. Unless he lost the primaries. But he didn't lose the primaries. He won the primaries and then they ousted him. Not a very good move in hindsight. Better end result because the House Republicans left the Senate Democrats with a trolley problem. There's really, the Senate Democrats are doing, everything they can as far as I know. Keep in mind, by the way, we're in a state right now where you can say, oh, but under the Democrats' presidency, the Republicans did this, this, and that. They bent the rules all the time to get their way. With Trump in power and in control of everything, do you think any Democrat will ever get away with bending the rules the same way Republicans have historically under his control? The second a Democrat does anything even remotely that can be framed as illegal or against what they're allowed to do, Trump is going to have them ousted from their position, their elected position. He will do it unconstitutionally if necessary. Trolley problem was hypothetical. The House Republicans made it real. I guess. I just don't see what you're referring to with that. Granted, this is my farming background coming through. The Democrats being paid by the same billionaires as Republicans to prevent leftward movement and accept rightward movement is exactly how we got here, plus the ticking clock of climate extinction. You are literally just talking out of your ass, XAV is online. You said all of the repeated lines that all of the, Zoomer, lefty accounts on TikTok and Twitter and stuff, you just repeated those talking points, but they're all, Democrats are paid by the same billionaires that pay Republicans. If you're referring to the fact that Democrats as a party, same as the Republicans, receive donations, including corporate donos, as a party, then yes. But the Democrats are by far more grassroots funded, particularly progressive Democrat politicians are overwhelmingly funded through grassroots supporter donations of $5, $10, $20, not massive super PACs and whatnot. As much as money is a problem in politics, to try to even attempt to equate the Democrats and the Republicans taking money to being even close to the same thing is, you're just doing the Republicans. You're just, you're borderline a Republican at that point. These are the talking points of MAGA. These are the points that MAGA uses to radicalize populists in favor of Trump, or at least to make left-wing populists so black-pilled they don't bother voting. Or even if they do vote for the Democrat, they do it begrudgingly, and they are certainly not out there saying, hey, guys, you gotta vote. Make sure you vote Democrat. Make sure you vote Democrat. Remember, Hassan did not tell people to vote for Kamala Harris as a good example of people like this. Hassan explicitly, when he voted on stream, said he's not saying who he voted for, and he's not encouraging anyone to vote for anyone else besides not for Trump. Fair, I respect that he at least told his audience, do not vote for Trump, but he explicitly refused to tell his fans to vote for Kamala Harris. Largest lefty political streamer, period, refuses to tell his audience to vote for the Democrat candidate in the election. Just think about that for a minute. Could you imagine that for the conservative side of this culture war political debate? The biggest right-wing figure coming out and saying, don't vote for Trump, or I'm not going to tell anyone who to vote for. They would never do that. Never in a million years would they do that.
With this funding bill, because there are significant cuts in this funding bill to Medicaid and other programs. Is that something you've heard? And if you do, what do you say to people?
Well, I want to be clear, there are an awful lot of Democrats who are fighting hard, and one of them is one of my senators, Tammy Duckworth, who has been out there saying about the continuing resolution and the cuts that the Republicans are proposing, hell no. And she said that loud and clear, and she said it when she voted. And so many other Democrats. Yes, there were, 8, 9, 10 Democrats in the Senate who voted the wrong way. And I've been clear, I vehemently disagree with what they did. But most Democrats are doing the right thing. And on the ground, what people are feeling is that we need to fight harder. They need to hear people speaking up. They need to see the Congress voting down, and voting against what Republicans are trying to do to veterans. And I want to just stop on that, because here I talked about agriculture just a minute ago, but I want to focus on veterans just for a second. Let's face it, many of the people in the rural areas of my state, veterans and farmers, voted for Donald Trump, who gave us Elon Musk.
Yeah, they did.
And many of those people are now showing up. They were at the Medicaid forum that I held to say, wait a minute, you're taking away my health care. What's happening? The Republican Congressman Darren LaHood, didn't show. He was invited to be there, and he didn't show. And that's what's happening. The Republicans are hiding their heads. They want Elon Musk and Donald Trump to do the dirty work for them.
I like this guy. He's cooking right now. I don't know if he could be like the future of the Democratic Party or anything, but I think he could definitely be like up there as one of those figures in the Democratic Party that's like really making his voice be heard and like making the case to the American people. Like, he kind of reminds me of Walz a bit, He just has this like real talk to him, this real talk vibe, and I like it a lot.
When they know that this is the job that Congress is supposed to do. But Republicans don't want anybody to know that they're the ones doing it. They'd like to leave it to the unelected, the wealthiest person in the entire world. That's Elon Musk.
Well, keep in mind, Trump and Elon ran together. Trump and Elon publicly say that when people voted for Trump, they voted for him and Elon. Elon and Trump consider Elon's position an elected position.
Before I let you go, so much happening every day, and I just have to ask you about the story we've been talking about throughout the show, which is this reporting by Jeffrey Goldberg about him being included on a signal chain with sensitive national security information, including war plans. What was your reaction to that story?
Good God.
I am outraged by this. This is, of all the things that we've been talking about, Medicaid, Social Security, Medicare, all.
Like I said, there are no adults in the room at our government anymore. It's all a bunch of toddlers. It's like a bunch of Homer Simpsons that do not know what to do if something serious goes down and there has to be a response or some level of like. We saw how Trump's last administration, which was arguably more competent than this one, mind you, handled COVID and a dozen of other disasters that occurred during Trump's time. How he's handled the fires already in California. This is scary, not just from a ideological view, but from a holy shit, we basically don't have a functioning government right now point of view.
All the cuts that are affecting people's lives. We're talking now about our military. We're talking now about our national security has been compromised because they're using a texting app to share plans about how they're going to attack the Houthis abroad. If someone had been on that chain that hadn't been a patriotic American like Jeffrey Goldberg, if someone who wanted to maybe get something out of it had been on that chain, it would have gone abroad. It would have been broadcast to other people. The Houthis would have known that our soldiers, our pilots were coming, and their lives would have been lost. So this is not, we're not kidding around anymore. The confusion that they're causing, the chaos that they're causing, the Trump administration, that is now gone to the Defense Department, our intelligence agencies, and is being effectuated so that our military is being put at risk and our national security is being put at risk.
It's wild how Trump wants to annex Canada and Greenland, which would not be an easy task even for America, mind you. Trump supporters think oh, America's strongest in the world. We'll just go in, we'll take it in a day. But no, if we actually went to war with Canada, it would be World War III. As much as these people, funnily enough, love to talk about how, oh, the Democrats are going to cause World War III if we don't pull out if we don't stop supporting Ukraine, it's going to be World War III. We have to please Putin, or he's going to do World War III. But he's also not a tyrant and is right to invade Ukraine. They claim this, right? They believe this, and yet they are cheering for Trump to start full-on war with both the EU and Canada. A country that if we were at war with it, could actually land attacks on American soil. Something that does not really happen. Like, it's insane. Trump was going to be the anti-war president, but also we're going to, like, with our incompetent military leadership right now, with Trump as commander-in-chief, we're also simultaneously going to somehow take over Canada and Greenland by force. Absolutely. Sure we are.
We can't stand this any longer. I mean, Pete Hegseth, which everybody knows he's unqualified to be the defense secretary, is responsible here. Donald Trump should fire Pete Hegseth.
Based. True. That guy fucked up massively. Like, dude, leaking war plans in a Signal group chat. That's a level of... That's, like, so incompetent a teenager wouldn't fuck that up, you know? Like, a teenager would be like, oh, better make sure these top secret war plans I have I don't leak them in the group chat, you know? That would be really bad. Like a literal, like, 10-year-old wouldn't make that mistake. Like, have you seen the clip recently? I think it was a tweet. Donald Trump Barron laptop. I need you guys to hear this clip, okay? David Pakman covered it.
You needed another reminder that Donald Trump lives in a technology.
Keep in mind, this is not just Donald Trump. It's the people he surrounds himself with. Listen to this shit.
Free time capsule. Trump is now marveling on camera that his son Barron is able to turn on a laptop. This is so wild. In the Fox News interview with Laura Ingraham, Trump said to Laura Ingraham, he went into Barron's room and the laptop was off. He came back 5 minutes later.
No. He said he would take Barron's laptop away and shut it off. And then he would come back. We'll see the clip regardless.
Trump said to Laura Ingraham, he went into Barron's room and the laptop was off. He came back 5 minutes later and the brace yourselves, okay? The laptop was on a mere 5 minutes later. Yes, it is a technology skill that just blew his mind.
But is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I'd try turning off his car, I'd turn it off, I'd turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later, he's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in.
I need you, like, these are the people running our country now, guys. Like, actual boomers. Like your grandma when she's like, oh, you're still using that the Facebooks? Oh, you're gonna bring over the Nintendo? Are you playing some Nintendo now? You know, like that like old boomer, like not really up with the times, like to the point where you're like, God, I love you, but I would never put you in charge of anything even remotely related to this country's technology. And here Trump is, that person, basically fully in charge of America's laws, regulation, management, and pretty much everything to do with America's tech industry. Actually terrifying. There are so many reasons beyond it just being the ideological horrors of what Trump and his people believe that make this such a scary presidency. Barron looks like he hates everything. He looks like they've been, like, pumping super soldier serum into him since he was a baby. It's actually insane how tall he is. He's taller than his dad. If I dance in front of my laptop, can I also turn it on? Good question. Good question. I never considered that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. I hope you found it entertaining or enjoyable. If you did, please consider supporting the channel and the stream by hitting the like button if you haven't already. Every single thumbs up goes a long way to boost my channel in the algorithm. Even more so if you also hit the comment button and leave a comment, no matter what it is. It means a ton and helps a lot. And if you want to see more from me, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, and especially you should join my fan Discord, the main hub of my community, where I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. It's really where you want to be. I announce all my new stuff. You want to be in there if you have a Discord. Hell, if you don't have a Discord, you might want to make one and join anyway. The watch parties are a blast. And of course, finally, if you feel like it and you really want to go the extra mile to support the channel, you would fill my heart with joy if you decided to donate, subscribe, or donate, or sorry, I should say gift a sub, not donate a sub, to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support the stream and me financially through my YouTube, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below if you feel like it. Regardless of how you support the stream, though, even if you're just lurking, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good one.